Nick,
Yes.
what's your topic?
All right.
My topic is Batman.
This
This week's Batman. I don't know if you guys are familiar
Mike
with this.
Drucker, have you ever heard of Batman?
Batman? Am I pronouncing that right?
I believe so, yes.
Batman?
There was a quote going around that Christian Bale said last week that I believe originated on Yahoo. I'm not quite sure. I'm on IO9 right here. You can check it out on IO9, but I think they link back to that Yahoo, where he says, quote, basically Christian Bale says he didn't quite nail Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy.
Okay.
Are you guys familiar with this at all?
Yes, I remember the Dark Knight trilogy.
What is his argument against himself?
Let's
Like, what is he?
Mr.
Here.
Bale,
Well,
please present your evidence against yourself.
The article reads, while out on a publicity for the latest movie, The Knights of Cups, Christian Bale has expressed some second thoughts about his portrayal of Bruce Wayne / Batman for Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy. When interviewed for Yahoo Movies, Bale noted that he didn't quite capture the extent to which Bruce Wayne was messed up. This isn't the first time that Bale has said that he's slightly jealous of Ben Affleck's opportunity to play the character in this month's Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Quote, Batman, he's this very, very dark, messed up character. I found when I put on the suit, I feel like a bloody idiot if I didn't use this as a means of his true monstrous self that he allows to come out in the moment. He went on to note that Heath Ledger completely upended all the plans when it came out to upended all of his plans when it came to portraying the character. That's not really all that much of a surprise given how much of a messed up character the Joker is. Looking back, Bale noted that he didn't quite accomplish what he wanted to with the character, but ruled out ever reprising the character. Again, enough's enough. We did our thing. Quote.
Well, I'd say that Batman's always upset with how he did his Batman, so that makes him a good Batman because he's upset with how he did his Batman.
Nailed it, Christian Bale.
Do you know what I mean? Like in comics, Batman's always like, "You idiot! You could have done this better." So being upset with how you did his Batman is very Batman.
I don't know where this pull quote came from, but he says Heath turned up and just kind of completely ruined all my plans because I'm like, he's so much more interesting than me. What am I doing?
Yeah, and that's from the article. They just put it in a weird spot.
Oh, I see. Okay,
got it. I broke it out in a weird font thing for you.
So I guess that is the quote of in question.
It's definitely not a new argument, I don't think, right? And it's interesting to hear him say it. He says, Heath turned up and ruined everything. I think most of the time when you talk about when people talk about the Dark Knight in particular, right? Of like, I think that's the best one of the trilogy, right? And of course, people who want to say it isn't,
Colin, you want to weigh in on
like,
that?
it's just because it's a Joker movie. It's not a Batman movie, right? And even going forward, it's like, well, yeah, the interesting parts are usually the other characters.
Well, and that's also is trying to go for a more realistic Batman. The problem with going for a more realistic Batman is you can't have this you can't have sort of, if you like Zack Snyder or not, Zack Snyder's going to do a more comic booky Batman. If you're trying to be realistic, you can't just be an asshole and break people's wrists every scene because that's not what would happen in real life.
Yeah.
I think he did fine as Batman. I didn't hate his Batman.
No.
I didn't like the third Batman movie, but that was a whole mess. Okay.
Look at this
Oh,
guy
are we
right
friends on that?
Yeah.
Is that an unpopular opinion? I've
This
just joined you
motherfucker
on?
over here thinks it's the best one.
I don't think it's the best
God,
one, but I definitely don't
you
think
do. I
it's
was going to say,
bad.
God
No,
damn
no,
it,
Colin for sure.
No, Colin does?
Colin is the leader
Colin
of the
loves
Dark
it.
Knight Rises camp.
I don't know. You guys.
Yes, brother.
Yes, brother. To be fair, we don't know if Colin is just fucking with Greg the entire time, and Colin will never tell us, so it doesn't really matter. So it's not even worth speculating.
But I mean, that's such an old argument. But the point being, I don't think he was a bad Batman.
No, I don't think he's bad. No.
No. Like, I think he did. I mean, I agree that Heath Ledger outshone him in that movie, but at the same time, he was so great as the Joker. I think any Batman would have been, second banana to that Joker.
Do you feel like obviously this is a fairly recent quote. I guess it came from Sunday, but do you feel like he's looking now at the trailers of what Snyder and the team are accomplishing and seeing that Batman and seeing that character? Do you think maybe he's like, maybe that would have been a better way to play it?
I don't think so.
I think he's seeing a more fleshed out Batman. Like, think about it that way. What you're getting with Ben Affleck, at least just from the trailers, right, is a Batman with motivation, and since he has this motivation, he has this justification to brand people with this bat, right? And fucking, like, you saw the fight scene, from that one trailer, like, to be the Batman from the comics / video games you think about when you're Batman.
Sure.
Whereas, like, when you think back to Begins was fun because it was like all new and what's happening. He's dropping from, but he's even like the League of Shadows stuff they were doing, right? You see so much of that now with Arrow or whatever, and I'm not saying those fight scenes are better, but they're different, right? And it's not unique anymore. Batman Begins at the time was unique because remember, this was the first time Batman could turn his fucking head.
Yes.
Right? And it's not just have the cowl like this or whatever.
Right.
He was fluid, he was moving. It wasn't it was all of a sudden this brand new fighting style.
I think there's also a lot to be said about professional humility, where even if you think you did well, you're like, oh, I'm, being polite to the next person in the role. I'm not trying, someone's like, do you think you were a better Batman than he will be? And you're like, of course not. Even if you think it, you're going to be professionally humble.
Sure.
That's not necessarily the case, but I also want to, put out, it's not like Christian Bale being like, I fucked up. This is terrible. It might just be him being like, I believe this will be a good movie, and I still want to have friendly relationships with all these people, so go see the movie.
Got to see him at the Academy Awards and whatnot. That probably makes more sense than when you put it in that context and that light of him saying, look, there's always obviously more than one way to play every role.
Right. What's interesting is him saying that, he wanted to do more of the dark stuff, right? And how messed up Bruce Wayne should be and Batman should be. And that's the thought of where I think he says that, Heath upended his plans, right? You imagine his plans were to try to show that a little bit more in the films, but you get there and Heath Ledger's Joker is so dark.
Yeah.
You can't go that way. I don't think you can get down into the mud and be the Batman we know from the comics who calls himself Batman. You know what I mean? He isn't Bruce Wayne. He's Batman, and that's what's happening in his head.
Yeah, I mean, you have those scenes where he have those intense moments where you see Batman screaming at someone or interrogating someone or throwing people off a freaking roof and things like that. And it just you're right though. It doesn't have even half the intensity of like any Joker scene.
Sure.
Like, anytime Joker's there, you're like the level of tension just rises to about 90%. So it must be interesting to go back and look at that because again, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think he did a great job. Yeah. When I think Batman Begins, when I think Dark Knight, I'm like, those are phenomenal movies. I can't imagine they would be any different. I can't imagine plugging anyone in there.
And as much as I'm excited for Ben Affleck's Batman, I'm less excited for Jared Leto's fucking Joker. Like, I mean, you're comparing yourself to Heath Ledger's Joker is comparing yourself to the greatest movie supervillain of all time.
Right.
You're never gonna win. Like, let's see how do you think Christian Bale's Batman would do against like Leto's Joker, which looks terrible? He just looks like an asshole. Like he doesn't look. He looks scary in the way like seeing a teenager in the middle of the night. You're like, I'm not a teenager anymore. He might attack me. Is scary, but like he doesn't look like a super villain. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't.
We're like, oh no, it's a youth. Like, and you're scared of that. But I'm not fucking scared of him on some global scale the way I'm Heath Ledger's Joker.
Right. I mean, for me, the verdict's still out on that one. We have to.
Yeah, we have to see Suicide Squad or whatever.
Do you buy into the theory? I forget. What's your comic acumen? You a big comic fan?
I like. Yeah.
Do you buy into this theory that it might be Jason Todd?
Sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't love Zack Snyder, I should say.
No, that's fine.
So, I mean, I know that Suicide Squad is not his movie, but I just don't know what hand he had in it and what he's going to paint it as.
Sure.
Sure, it could be, but I don't know yet.
That's my whole thing with the Jared Leto being Jason Todd and that being him.
I mean, I know there's like
Joker.
the Robin suit with like bullet holes in it or something or whatever.
On you or whatever.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way to dodge not being compared to Heath Ledger.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
That you're not the Joker. There was a Joker and he got killed, but he had already tortured me and made
I hope that's it, man. That sounds so great to me.
If they do that, I mean, that'll be like such a holy shit. Are you committed to this cinematic universe?
Sure.
That you're just gonna put into a movie that the Jason Todd's Joker, and that we want you to figure that out.
The Joker's gone and dead.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not coming back.
And that way, in Justice League, you can bring him back, and we'll be like, what?
Well, he's not necessarily dead,
like,
though.
what?
And it's Heath Ledger. You're like, whoa, the long game on that one.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. They really kind of pulled that out of their pocket. I just made a Heath Ledger death joke. I apologize, everyone.
It's not your first one. It won't be your last one.
I just don't understand his line of thinking, just in the sense that Batman to me has never been about Batman, really. I mean, ever since '89 Batman, like I just don't feel like. I mean, yeah, Batman was a central character to Batman. It's not a huge surprise there, but it always seemed to me that it was about these ancillary characters, these villains. I mean,
sure,
that
you
was
get
what was
excited for the villains, right?
Yeah, always. I mean, it was the Joker in '89 Batman Returns. You have the Penguin, like, and then you get into the shitty fucking Schumacher ones and all that kind of stuff. But the villains were still, I think, even more in those than the other ones were the draw because they fit like Freeze and Riddler and all these like kind of fit in this over the top campy ass fucking Batman. They did it, but like it does. I actually kind of agree with what Drucker's assertion that this seems to be maybe a humility kind of nod in the sense that like there is no prayer that this movie is anywhere near the Nolan movies in terms of quality. Sure. So it's like. Right. Like not even a fucking prayer that's gonna happen. So like you're fine, and you're always gonna be looked at as being the Supreme Batman from the Supreme Batman movies, and that's not gonna change. So like I don't understand why.
But see, that's the argument.
See,
that's the thing is I'm with you that the Nolan movies are on another level because they were going for something different. But I think when you think back to the Nolan Batman films, you're gonna think back to Heath Ledger.
Sure,
that's what I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think people look at him as the Supreme Batman. He was definitely in the Supreme Batman films.
I think about Tom Hardy personally.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's what I'm
but I don't think he did a bad job at all. It never bothered me.
That's the plan. All right, that's your choice. Okay, all right.
I'm sorry, Tim. I didn't mean to.
No, that's wrong. Yeah.
No, I mean that's my thing though, and that maybe that's a good way to kind of frame this is when you actually think about the ranked order of Batmans. What would be grammatically correct?
It would be Batman's.
I
would
it's
say-
a proper noun in it, right?
Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy, is that the name? The
Yeah.
voice
Yeah,
actor
I'll
from the
allow
animated
it.
series.
Yes, I'll allow
Yeah,
that.
you have to allow it.
Giant jump down. I don't know. After that, it's sort of.
I give it to
go
Bale
Keaton.
by default.
No, I
Yeah.
gotta go Keaton
The
first.
Keaton for
Keaton
sure.
thing,
Keaton's
I'll
good,
never
yeah.
understand this Keaton thing, man.
He's really good.
I guess he's like that. Those movies are really cool, really great. That's not Batman. If that's Batman, that's like it's the cartoony, like not an animated series, like cartoony Batman.
Oh, it was.
And like
It
that's
was- it's just
fine,
very
that's
Tim Burton.
cool.
Yeah.
But I
Right.
don't know. When I think Batman, I think Dark Knight Returns Batman, or at least like darker Batman.
Yeah, but I mean, there's just different eras of it. Like when I think Batman in the 1989, I lump that in with the whole series of movies. Like that includes Beetlejuice, where you're like, these are just really kind of creative, almost asinine,
Right.
ridiculous versions of these. But there was an underlying fucked up creepiness to all of those films. Like you go back and watch Beetlejuice, and you're like, there's some dark shit in this.
Yeah.
This is not a kids movie, and the '89 Batman came off like a kids movie, but you've got the Joker doing some fucked up shit in that. And Jack Nicholson was pretty terrifying, not on the level of Heath Ledger, but he wasn't. I don't think he was trying to play the character that way.
I don't think he was a bad Joker. Like that was
No,
a
I
great
think he's a
Joker.
good Joker. Yeah.
Batman Returns is just full of sexual innuendo.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I love
Batman
Returns.
Returns is a
Oh
crazy
my God,
movie.
Jesus.
Returns is fucking awesome.
Returns is it's a beautiful movie, but
Penguins
those
with
were
little rockets on them. Hell yeah.
that was weird. But that's what I'm saying is like that's
That's
straight out of a
Burton.
comic book, right?
Yeah,
That's
that's 100
straight out
Bears
of a
in San
comic book.
Francisco.
Yeah, exactly. Did you think of a name for that villain yet?
No, it's me.
The bear.
What would your villain be? Gruesome Greggy?
Let me work on it. I'll get back
Work
to
on
you.
it.
Gregman?
No,
Gregman.
Gregman. There
Sonic
we go.
Greg. Sonic
Son of
Greg.
Greg. Son of Greg.
I don't know, man. Figure it out.
I will.
Yeah, I don't know. I would probably agree with that assessment. Conroy's first.
Conroy's first.
Conroy's got to be first.
I would put probably Keaton, and then you got to give a nod to
Bale.
Bale after that. Yeah.
I say Bale's before.
Bale, then maybe Adam West.
It's one of those it's the normal Colin argument of like, what's the criteria?
Yeah.
I guess. You know what I mean? Like that's the problem. Because I think that Bale does so much right in terms of like Batman, in terms of movement, in terms of this, you know what I
In
mean?
terms of Bruce Wayne
Physique.
too.
But that's my thing, though.
But
I would
Bruce Wayne's the
disagree with
easiest
that.
thing
But
to
he's
Neo.
not, because Michael Keaton was a weirdo.
No,
He
but
was
that's-
great!
But that's the whole
He
point. Is like. Sorry, can you take this one?
I mean, like I don't understand. Like if Bruce Wayne summed up as that party when he walks in on him, and they're like it's Knox and Vicky Vale.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
like they're arguing about where this is from. And he's like China. Like how do you know? That's where I bought it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And he's like, hi, Bruce Wayne. Like that's a good Bruce Wayne. Don't get me wrong. It's
Yeah,
not
I don't
comics. I'm gonna go out and act drunk and go into the pool and buy the hotel shit. Like
Which to
that
me,
was
like I
cool.
guess that's my
That
thing.
was
It's
cool.
like that's
Yeah, but
I like
that
that.
never came off. That came off as weird to me. Like that never came off like he was selling that. That came off like, and part of it is because as the audience, you're behind the curtain, you see why he's doing it and you understand his motivations.
Sure.
But like to me, I loved when Keaton he played the bumbling sort of like, he wasn't the playboy. He was more of like, I don't really know what's happening all the
Sure,
time.
yeah.
I'm kind of just stumbling through life here and there. But then when he'd have those one or two interactions with like Max Schreck, and you're like, oh shit, wait a minute, these guys are both really sharp. And they're both coming at this, and this is both just their facade that's like hitting right now. But they're both kind of like on different sides of the same fucked up dark coin.
I'm with you that like Bale's Bruce Wayne Batman is way more canon than the Keaton stuff.
I guess
right?
that's
Of,
my
like,
thing.
Where
Like,
the
that's-
fuck's the money
that's
coming
it.
from for the Wayne?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's never any Wayne Tech or Lucius Fox or anything like that, right? It's just like I have a really big house and this table I don't use.
He's a millionaire. Wayne Enterprises.
Alfred's lived with me forever, but he's got to wear this fucking tuxedo every day.
He likes the tuxedo. We've asked him to change. He doesn't want to
And
change.
he has a bunch of them. It's not the same tuxedo. He owns more than one.
But it is the same one.
It's the
He
same
just
one.
owns
It's the same
multiple
brand.
styles.
yeah,
Yeah,
same
yeah.
style for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think back about that, but I have such conflicting thoughts of the Dark Knight trilogy because so much of it is right, and I think that's just what I always feel when I start to deep dive on Christopher Nolan is that there's so much of it that I love and that is right, and then there's just so much of it that you're like, there is a little stuff that's off about it. And
Yeah,
for me-
but that's comic book movies.
that's movies. That's anything.
No, just comic books.
No, it's
Fast and
anything.
the Furious is airtight, Tim.
I can't even admit to that. Like that's
Yeah, Fast and Furious is more like a submarine with a fucking screen door. But
Whoa.
what? Well, see, that's a joke I stole. I don't even know where I got that from.
Back to
but
the Future.
I stole that joke. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going way
That's
back
about as
with that.
funny
It
as
is way
a
back to the future.
submarine. Wait, no, yeah.
I-
It's about
I-
a battleship with a screen though.
I don't know. Like I'm becoming more and more intrigued by if this Batman, like how this Batman versus Superman movie is going to be. I think this movie is going to be no better than good, but like I think it's going to be good. You know, but I don't know that Affleck's going to be the takeaway from it. I think the takeaway is probably going to be that this might be the first Superman movie that's actually worth anything since Reeve.
No, because even if it is good, because if the movie's good, it's going to be counted as good because of Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Then it's a lose-lose for DC and for Superman.
I mean, they put so much money into this too. I wonder how they're going to do financially with this. It's $250 million before marketing.
Oh fuck.
But somebody put it up the numbers recently of what it's projected to make, and it was projected to kick some fucking skull in.
Yeah,
It'll make. I mean, it'll
make.
I mean, the fact that I think
I'm
the writing's
fascinated
on
by
the
it.
wall, right? And the fact that they've already greenlit the solo Batman film to follow, and then
Yeah.
there's all these other movies that aren't Superman movies.
Yeah,
it's
but
Justice
they-
League, it's Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and they're
They
shoving
they
it all.
greenlit
That's
the second.
That's gonna be the
Fantastic
problem with this
Four.
movie is they're
No, but they stopped on that.
they're
Oh, I
putting
see.
so
I
much
see.
shit into this movie, man.
right. Like if they hammer in too much of the Justice League, it's gonna be like, okay, fucking, they're Cyborg, yay. Like,
I think he'll just be in the background.
yeah,
I
he'll
think.
just
I think
like,
when
hey, welcome
Hey,
to Justice League. Like, how do you incorporate like 8 dudes with superpowers?
I have a whole theory. I can
We'll
bore you
link
with it
you.
later.
All right,
link
yeah,
you
you
to
can.
the
I'll watch the
Don't worry.
video.
Don't worry. Give me the
Yeah.
view, all right?
All right, I'll give you that view, and I'll watch your ad.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
like you don't-
Speaking of ads, Greg Way, guys, everybody knows good things comes in sets of 3. What does that have to do with anything? Well, get this. March is the 3rd month of the year, and it also happens to be our friends over at Harry's 3rd year anniversary as a business. And if you're new to Harry's, I've got a special deal for you to try 3 of their expertly crafted 5-blade German razors, a handle, and shave cream for just $10. We're going to shave this off with it.
Just the right side of my beard.
Just the right side.
Fine,
so nobody
I'm
will
done.
ever see. You're okay with that?
Yeah.
Kevin, go get me the Harry rate. No,
There
don't
you
do
go.
it.
Done.
Harry's doesn't like discounts because their prices are already so low. But we've worked out a special offer for you guys, and this is the all caps portion, so guard your ears. Harry's will give you $5 off your first order with promo code Kinda Funny. That's all one word. Stop overpaying for a great shave. Go to harrys.com right now. That's HARRYS.com. Enter code Kinda Funny, all one word, at checkout.